All right, it's your boy, Craig Mack. I'm back. We are discussing Witherbloom the Balancer, a cEDH deck today. We're trying something new. We have the deck and paper, so we're going to lay it out on the table and just kind of go through inclusions, combo lines, value pieces, things like that. I do think it's a really fun deck, and I think you guys will enjoy it. Is it a top tier deck? Probably not. Are you going to have fun and win some games with it? Probably. So let's dive into it right now. The commander of the deck, Witherbloom the Balancer. Witherbloom the Balancer is a new creature from Secrets of Strixhaven. It is an 8 cost, 6 colorless, 1 black pip, 1 green pip, flying and death touch. We don't really care about the flying and death part, and it's a 5/5. The key pieces of text on this card are affinity for creatures, and instant and sorcery spells you cast have affinity for creatures. So what we're looking to do with this is dump a bunch of dorks early in the turns, turn 1, turn 2, and possibly cast this on turn 2 or turn 3 with the right setup. From there, the instant sorcery spells you cast have affinity for creatures will enable payoffs and combos, and there's a ton of them in the deck, and they're really fun. So let's go through those now. Setup. All right, so setup, as we mentioned earlier, we want to dump a bunch of mana dorks on the table in the early turns. Turn 1, turn 2, usually establishing creatures, mana production, things like that. So we'll have a Llanowar Elf, a Fyndal Elf, an Elvish Mystic, an Elves of Deep Shadow, a Delighted Halfling, a Deathrite Shaman, a Bop, and an Arbor Elf. Also, we're running Blood Pet. Interesting card. It is a mana enabler. You do have to sack it, but there's combos where you can go infinite with it later, and I'll show you those. And then, of course, the Badgermole Cub. Now, the Badgermole Cub will make each one of these elves produce an extra color mana. It also produces a body, which is very important for Witherbloom, so this is a fantastic include in the deck. We are running some other spells that are not creatures that produce mana. They're just bursts of mana that sometimes you need for faster starts. So Grim Monolith, Chrome Mox, Lotus Petal, Mox Diamond, Mana Vault, and Soul Ring. We are not on Mox Amber. Witherbloom's very expensive. We don't have a ton of legendary creatures. We are not on Mox Opal. We do not have a lot of artifacts in the deck itself. All right, just wanted to go over a couple more bursts of mana that we have in the deck that will allow us to get to Witherbloom quicker or set up some of our enablers and combo spells. Elvish Spirit Guide. Elvish Spirit Guide in your opening hand usually will allow you to cast 2 dorks or a Badgermole Cub on turn 1. Very strong card. Dark Ritual, one of the best magic cards ever printed. Cabal Ritual in this deck is usually another Dark Ritual or better, so fantastic include. Calling the Weak allows us to call one of our dorks, and sometimes you are hard up for black pips and you really need it. Calling the Weak will allow you to get to your enablers and payoffs quickly, and Sacrifice works well with Hoarding Broodlord, works well with other creatures that you have when you need certain colored pips. So all these are just on top of all the things we showed earlier, and will help you get to your Witherbloom or your payoff spells quicker. All right, so tutors. Tutors allow us to find the missing pieces or the payoffs once we have Witherbloom on the table. Summoner's Pact. Summoner's Pact is not something we're casting unless we're usually trying to win the game. I can go find an Elvish Spirit Guide in a pinch if you need a burst of mana. So yeah, this one we were usually not going to have to pay the upkeep cost. So a lot of our lines in this deck are creature centric, so this is a very good card. Vampiric Tutor, Imperial Seal, Worldly Tutor, same thing with Summoner's Pact. Demonic Tutor. Demonic Tutor, one of the best spells ever printed in Magic. Lively Dirge tends to be a bit expensive, but when Witherbloom is out and it's reducing the spree cost, it's a fantastic Magic card. We do have some reanimation spells in the deck as well, so even if we're not staying under the 4 mana cost threshold, we have reanimate spells in the 99. Green Sun Zenith, Nature's Rhythm. These spells with their X costs are usually reduced considerably by Witherbloom, so we'll find you anything in your deck for 2 mana or 1 mana. Court of Calling is one of the best cards in the deck. It allows your Necro lines. It allows your end step lines or instant speed wins. Court of Calling, usually when you have 4 or 5 creatures out is game ending. So you can sit on it and end the game at instant speed. Tainted Pact, just one of the best Magic cards ever printed. Formidable Speaker will allow you to find any creature, and the untap effect comes in handy with the Guy's Cradle. Sowing Microswath will find you an Emergent Zone or a Guy's Cradle. So this is an important spell. And Wishclaw Talisman. Wishclaw Talisman is a very efficient tutor, and also can be untapped with Formidable Speaker for some shenanigans there. So this is the tutor package. We do have some more tutors in the deck. We're going to bust those out under payoffs because odds are you're not casting those things unless Witherbloom's out and you're already set up. All right, so let's start getting to the fun part. So payoff spells, or spells that I like to say, the reason we don't run ad nauseum is because these things are expensive. So you got Witherbloom out, you've got 4 or 5 creatures out. Here's what it looks like. The first one up is Dark Petition. Now, Dark Petition is a 5-mana tutor, demonic tutor. Just 5 mana, search your library for a card, put that card into your hand, then shuffle. If there are 2 or more instants or sorcery cards in your graveyard, it adds 3 black mana. Again, 3 black pips can be very important to continue comboing off. So Dark Petition is a great include. Diabolic Revelation. This is black, 3 and X. Search your library for up to X cards and put those cards in your hand. Then shuffle your library. If you have 5 creatures out, 6 creatures out, this is 2 mana. Go find 3 spells, 4 spells, 5 spells, or even just 1 or 2 in a pinch. Good card. Final Parting. Final Parting is a 1-card combo enabler that we'll get to when we get to combos. But Final Parting is a 5 mana. Search your library for 2 cards, put 1 in your hand, 1 in your graveyard. Again, a 2 mana tutor usually at best, and putting something in your yard usually this spell will win you the game on the spot. And I'll show you how we get to that after. Increasing Ambition. Search your library for a card. Put that card in your hand. If Increasing Ambition was cast from the graveyard, instead search your library for 2 cards. So this card is usually just 1 black mana tutor. Flash it back for 8, or usually 3 mana. Flash it back for 2 more cards. So Increasing Ambitions is a great one. Beseech the Queen. Mana is 2/2 or 2/2 or 3 black pips. This card is just free when you get to 6 creatures. So Beseech the Queen is just a free tutor when you get to 6 creatures. Usually, if you have 5 out, it's 1 mana. It's just a great card. Behold the Beyond. So this is a 7 mana spell. Discard your hand, search your library for 3 cards, and put those cards into your hand. Then shuffle your library. So this card will, if you have one of your combo pieces in your hand that you need in the yard, you can dump it to the yard. But in general, it's 2 mana. Dump your hand. Look for 3 cards. You're winning the game on almost any of these spells. Peer into the Abyss. 7 mana. Target player draws cards equal to the number of cards in their half in their library, then loses half their life. Round up each time. We don't need to say much about this. You guys all know the line Thwarting Broodlord. We'll get to that one later. But in general, if you resolve this spell, it's not swatted or misdirected or, I guess, redirect lightning at this point. Game over. Tooth and Nail. Tooth and Nail, oldie but goodie. This is a green pip enabler, so this is a good one to have as well, because sometimes you will be choked on black. This is a 7 mana. Choose 1, search your library for up to 2 creature cards, reel them, put them in your hand, or put up to 2 creature cards from your hand onto the battlefield. There is an entwined cost of 2, so if you can reduce your mana, if you can reduce this cost, by 7 or down to even 3, 5 or 6, this card is just going to win you the game on the spot. You're going to search for 2 creatures, put them in your hand, then put them onto the battlefield. And then Stinging Study, which is an instant, which makes it nice. Stinging Study is a 5 mana spell, 1 black pip, 4 colorless. You draw X cards and you lose X life, where X is the mana value of your commander. Notably, Witherbloom's casting cost is 8. So this is 1 mana, draw 8 cards. So these are like payoff spells. They're, some of them are combo pieces, but all of them will enable you to get your combo. So these, if you have one of these in your hand and you have enough dorks on the table, you are winning the game when there's no interaction. All right, so we've set up. We've got Witherbloom about to be cast or is on the table already. We've got some payoff spells. We're going to attempt to combo off. The first thing you want to do is try to protect your neck. This is cEDH. A lot of things can go wrong, so you want to make sure that it's hard to interact with you. Green and black notoriously don't have a lot of silence effects, protection spells, things like that, but we do have things that we can cast that will allow us to feel safer when comboing. Sometimes you're just going to have to jam. Sometimes that's more fun, but it's better when you're protected. Always remember that. Protection is important, guys. So first one up, Sylvan Safekeeper, 1 drop. Sacrifice a land, give something Shroud, protect your Witherbloom, protect one of your creature combo pieces. Important spell. Similar vein, Legolas's Quick Reflexes. This is a split second spell, so we'll get around almost anything. It untaps the target creature until the end of the turn to game text. If you untap Witherbloom, can mollywop a creature on the board. But in general, this is just used for split second protection if somebody's trying to hit you with a Chain of Vapor, a Swords of Plowshares, a Deadly Rollick, something along those lines. Similar vein, Autumn's Veil will give your creatures protection from black and blue. Also make them so they can't be countered. Same thing with Veil of Summer. So these ones are top-notch spells. So these ones you want to play when you're attempting to go off. Also in that vein, Allosaur Shepherd. Allosaur Shepherd is the bane of the blue mage. The spell itself can't be countered, and green spells you have can't be countered. There's a ton of green payoffs in this deck, a ton of green combos in this deck. So sticking an early Allosaur Shepherd will allow you to A, cast Witherbloom quicker, and B, will allow it to hit the battlefield. And then finally, we have Docent of the Fallen Leaf. Docent of the Fallen Leaf is one of my favorite cards. Players can play spells only during their turn, so it's essentially a silence effect. Notably, if you are not planning to win the game that turn, don't play Docent. Docent is not fun for the other players at the table and will enable somebody to combo off after you. So these are like kind of the protection package for this before you start trying to combo off. All right, so let's just talk about some of the casual good stuff in this deck. I like to play just good spells because things don't always go to plan. You need a backup plan. You need to be able to play Magic. So these are kind of spells that I include in most of my green and black decks, and also things that are especially good in this deck. First up, Orcish Bowmaster. Orcish Bowmaster is a card that's been a needle in the side of a lot of players for the last couple of years. It is just generally good, picking off creatures, putting damage. In this deck, it's exceptionally good because it creates the extra body, right? So not only are you casting Orcish Bowmaster, being a nuisance to the table, you're creating that extra orc army that will allow Witherbloom to come down quicker. The Cabbage Merchant. Now, the Cabbage Merchant is a 3-drop, but in CDH games, there's usually a lot of spells cast. This deck, excluded. So Cabbage Merchant will generate you a ton of mana, which will allow a ton of general pips, like different color pips. So you're getting black, you're getting green. So when you're attempting to go off, having a Cabbage Merchant on the table for like a 1-turn cycle will usually allow you to have all the colored mana pips you need. Crick, Son of Yawgmoth. In the 99. Now, Crick is just, a 7 casting cost, 4 colorless, and 3 Phyrexian. So you're usually casting 4. This makes, when you have Witherbloom out, Crick essentially makes every black setup spell that we showed earlier, or payoff spell we showed earlier, free. So Crick is a bit expensive, but like if you land Crick and you have Witherbloom on the table, you're casting everything in your hand essentially for free, with the cost reduction from Witherbloom and paying the life from Crick. This is an interesting one. The casual staple, Vedalken Orrery. Now, Vedalken Orrery enables all your spells to have flash. As you saw earlier, a lot of our spells are sorcery speed. So sticking an Orrery will just put the table at edge and allow you to attempt to go off whenever you need to. It also enables your Necro lines. It also enables a spell that we'll get to in 1 second. So Orrery is always on the fence for me. Like it's expensive, but this deck does produce a lot of mana. It's not reduced by Witherbloom, but this deck does produce an obscene amount of mana. So I'm okay with it for now. Crop Rotation. Crop Rotation is going to find you that Cradle. Crop Rotation is going to find you that Emergence Zone, similar to Vedalken Orrery, or you need to go off at instant speed, in your Necro end step. Or Necrologia. I just gave you a little hint of what the card's coming soon. End step. So Crop Rot, just a good green magic card, and one that I'll always keep in here. Life and Death. Now, Life and Death is an interesting card. Life and Death is a modal spell or a split spell. The first one is all lands you control become 1/1 creatures until the end of the turn. They're still lands. This is for life for 1, turning 3 of your lands into creatures will make Witherbloom cost 3 mana less, and you can dump it out of your hand. The other side of the spell is Death, which is a reanimate spell, and we are running cards like Entomb. We have Corpse Connoisseur, that sort of thing, so we can dump things into the yard and death them out. So both these modes are relevant to the deck, so I think it's a good include. Noxious Revival. Sometimes One of your combo pieces will get wheeled, put into the yard. You'll discard something you don't need to discard or you don't want to discard. Noxious Revival, put it back on top of your deck. Noxious Revival is a free spell essentially with the alternate mana cost. So instant. It's just a very versatile spell, and one that I like to include in most of my green cEDH decks. Entomb. Entomb is a 1 mana tutor in this deck that will find you a creature and put it into the yard. So we've already gone over death. We have a spell we'll get to later that will bring things back. So there's a lot of things in this deck that will return cards from your creature cards from your graveyard that will enable lines that come out of nowhere. You know, that just casually happen in the game. Calling Ritual. This one might seem weird with the amount of mana dorks we have and the Witherbloom cost reduction. Calling Ritual in cEDH nowadays is usually a game-ending spell. Like most people will counter this. If you one time when I was playing this deck recently, I had my line completely shut off by something making, a blind obedience type of thing. Like, so it was making my treasure tokens come in tapped. I didn't have the cost reduction I needed. I had to pivot. Calling Ritual wipes the board of most things and produces a bajillion mana. And especially in this deck with the amount of dorks you're dumping out, it can produce a bajillion mana, allowing those payoff spells that we showed earlier to be cast just normally. And you can assemble a line from there, recasting creatures to get Witherbloom down. So Calling Ritual is just a very good black and green magic spell and should be in most decks. This one's an interesting one. Now, this one's one I'm not sure of yet, but I've been testing it and it's been working very well. Necrologia. Now, Necrologia is essentially an ad nause, but you have to cast it in your end step. It's an ad nause that you're just paying 1 life for every card rather than the casting cost of the card. And so with the amount of mana that we high casting costs spells that we have in this deck, ad nauseum isn't really a viable option. Necrology, on the other hand, you just wait to your end step, usually dump it out for 2 mana with Witherbloom out, draw, say 35 cards, find something to do. What I was saying before, this deck does have a lot of instant speed win lines. If you Necrologia and hit Court of Calling, it's usually game over. So Necrologia will allow you to draw the majority of your deck if you have a Flash Enabler, if you have a Crop Rot to find your Emergence Zone. This is usually game over when you dump this spell. And then, of course, Necropotence. So we've been speaking about that a lot lately. Similar thing that is since Necrologia. Necropotence comes down early. You draw a bunch of cards, and you find a win line from there, an instant speed win line from there. And there are enough in the deck that it makes it a decent Necro deck. It's not the best Necro deck, but it's a decent Necro deck. So both these effects are very strong. All right, so let's talk about some of the combos that this deck has to end the game, and there's a bunch of them. So we'll go over them each individually here. So the easiest one is obviously Witherbloom the Apprentice. This is one you can accomplish without Witherbloom the Balancer out. Witherbloom Apprentice is on the battlefield. It's Magecraft. Whenever you cast or copy a spell, each opponent loses 1 life, you gain 1 life. Chain of Smog is a black pip and 1 colorless sorcery. Target player discards 2 cards from his or her hand. That player may copy the spell and may choose a new target for that spell. So what you just do with this is you Chain of Smog yourself, discard 2 cards, and then just keep targeting yourself over and over and over again ad nauseum until you've drained the table out. It's an easy combo interrupt because you can remove the Witherbloom, bounce the Witherbloom, change the target of Chain of Smog, interact with the Chain of Smog. And usually that happens after you've discarded your hand. So it's a dangerous one to go for, but it is a combo you can accomplish without Witherbloom on the battlefield. So it's in the deck, and it's usually my backup win condition. Not even, it's like way down the line, but it's there. Easy one to assemble. Next up, we'll keep Witherbloom out here, is Sprout Swarm. Sprout Swarm is an instant spell that costs 1 green and 1 colorless. It has Convoke, so you can tap both these creatures to do it. It has Buyback 3, which means if you pay 3, you return the spell to your hand. The spell reads, put a 1/1 green Saproling creature token into play. So what you're going to try to assemble here is casting Sprout Swarm, having enough creatures on the battlefield to reduce its cost and buy it back to your hand, then tapping the Saproling you make to recast Sprout Swarm over and over again ad nauseum and draining the table out with Witherbloom Apprentice. Sprout Swarm is used in other stuff as well, but this is an easy combo and one that you can assemble at instant speed during other players' turns, say with Court of Calling. or a flash enabler. So this is one of a key win condition in this deck. Also, Sprout Swarm, just making a bajillion creatures with Witherbloom out, with not even the Witherbloom Apprentice. If you get to your attack, if you can do that at end step and attack, yeah, you win the game as well. So Sprout Swarm is with creatures out is almost a 1-card win condition. All right, so speaking of 1-card win conditions, let's go back to Final Parting. Final Parting reads, 2 black, 3 colorless, search your library for 2 cards, put one of them in your hand and the other into your graveyard, then shuffle your library. The cards we're going to select here are going to be Corpse Connoisseur and Corpse Dance. Now, Corpse Dance reads, 1 black flip, 2 colorless, buy back 2, put the top creature card from your graveyard into play. This creature is unaffected by summoning sickness. Remove that creature from the game at the end of the turn. Corpse Connoisseur, when this creature enters, you may search your library for a creature card, put that card into your graveyard, then shuffle. We will put Corpse Connoisseur into the graveyard, Corpse Dance into our hand. We will cast Corpse Dance, targeting Corpse Connoisseur with buyback. Return this to my hand, Corpse Connoisseur will come to play. From here, we're going to go find Warren Soul Trader. Warren Soul Trader will hit the yard. We will spend a 2nd black mana to cast Corpse Dance, again with buyback, bringing back Warren Soul Trader. That will hit here. We'll sacrifice the Connoisseur with Soul Trader's ability to generate a treasure. Generate 1 treasure. Use the generated treasure, and we'll cast Corpse Dance again. Buying it back. Grab Corpse Connoisseur. This will be putting the Zulaport Cutthroat into the yard. Zulaport hits. We will again flashback Corpse Dance. Bring Zulaport, and we will show you an infinite combo of returning things back and forth and draining the table out with Corpse Dance. So this is just, again, just a 1-card combo that you hit and uninteracted with will just win the game. Final Parting is a fantastic card in this deck. All right, so Hoarding Broodlord. Hoarding Broodlord is just a 1-card combo in itself. Hoarding Broodlord will hit. The oldie but goodie is Hoarding Broodlord, grabbing Saw in half the Broodlord. You'll make yourself 2 Broodlords. You could always go get a sacrifice and appear into the abyss. Use a sacrifice, convoke, sacrifice one of them, appear into the abyss. Cast Peer into the Abyss on yourself. Draw half your deck, assemble a win line from there. This one also has the benefit of that the Corpse Dance spell we were showing earlier, so you can get a Corpse Dance with one of those. Sacrifice a Broodlord, goes to the yard. Use the exile card to Corpse Dance the 1 Broodlord back. Then you'll have another card. You'll also have the Corpse Dance. You can assemble a line from there. If you can assemble a win fairly easily at instant speed with a Court of Calling and do a Hoarding Broodlord. At that point, crop rotation for an E-zone. Set it up again to drop a Witherbloom Apprentice, Sprout Swarm, something along those lines. There's a million combos you can assemble with Hoarding Broodlord. This deck does it very, very well because of the Corpse Dance. So, assemble the line that A is hardest to interact with. B draws your opponents the least amount of cards. Like those are what I always look for in a cEDH win condition. Those are some of the combos. There's more in here, but we have the entire Chatterfang line that you can dump out as well. That's also a backup win condition, but a lot of the cards work with each other anyways. So Chatterfang is in the deck. Yeah, so all right, guys, so that's what I've got for Witherbloom the Balancer cEDH deck. I'm calling it CorpseBloom. It's a fun deck. It's an explosive deck. The amount of games that I've played with it, I've put a win on the stack almost every single game. I've won a bunch of them. Is that a top tier deck? It doesn't have blue, so that's strike against it already. Decks where your commander has to stick as a condition to play your game are always a little bit tricky, but it's a really fun deck and it's something I like. If you have any ideas for it, drop them in the comments, hit me up on X. And if you are watching this video and you have not liked, subscribed, all that jazz, please do. It helps the algorithm. It helps us get this stuff seen. So yeah, I'm Craig Mack from WZKD Games and Too Deep, and I'll be back next week with another deck tech. I think we got a couple more new ones coming up. Play cEDH, have fun, and be nice to everybody, guys. See you next week. Peace.